Welcome to the Daily Dish with New York Times bestselling author Leanne Ely. Putting vibrancy back into your everyday life and feeding your heart, mind, body, and soul. Join us every day at 1 p.m. Eastern for Motivational Monday, Tuesday's Tip, Wise Woman's Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, Food Fight Friday, and of course Q&A, where no question is off limits, and Soulful Saturday. Here is your host, Leanne Ely, and the Daily Dish.
And we're back. Guess what? It's Thursday. I know you're thirsty, right? I know you are. That's how Thursdays roll around here. And I already see Catherine in the house. It's good to see you, Mary Ann. Mary Ann's strolling on in. I appreciate that. Thanks so much, Mary Ann, for showing up. And for everybody else who's coming in right now, I see you and I appreciate you wholeheartedly. Thanks so much for showing up. Today is, of course, Thirsty Thursday, and we're going to be talking about focus because we're all about focus. Focus is what we've got going on this week. Margot, I just saw your invoice and said hello to you. Jen, it's good to see you too. Love to see you all walk in here. Patsy, your body can stand almost anything. It's your mind you have to convince. How about that? Anybody else ever noticed that? Is it just me? Is it you too? Are you there with me? I'll tell you what, that's everything. Hi, Jeanette. Good to see you. So today we're going to be really getting into the weeds. Literally, when I tell you what we're talking about, it's going to be such a thing. You know, Catherine's word of the year is focus. So is Joanne's, by the way. Hi, Denise. Mine is consistency, and maybe we'll have a consistency week. Who knows? We've got all kinds of things coming on board. We love that, and we love talking about these things because it helps us to unpack a little bit at a time. I mean, that's what we do, right? That's what we do. We unpack just an itsy bitsy piece of one puzzle here. Remember, our lives are a gigantic puzzle. They really are, and we're here to figure all that stuff out. We're given frameworks, and we just need to make sure that we place those things all in, and it makes all the difference. Hey, Joanne and Angie and Marguerite, good to see you. Really good to see you. Love seeing you guys, and a lot of you I'm seeing in Full Bloom. And let me just tell you right now, the thing that I love about Full Bloom is that we use this, technology called Crowdcast. So we can pull people in and we can talk face to face. Isn't that so cool? Kind of like Zoom, only more Brady Bunchy. You know, we can do more people than that. So it's really great. So if you don't have your ticket yet, you are missing out. And I want to say a full-hearted plea with you. Come on in. You know, I want you there. This year is all about you are enough. And I have so many cool things to share and teach and show and love you up with. You're really going to like it. I promise you're going to like it. Won't you, Juanita? Won't you, Martha? I know you will. The reason you're going to love it because it all applies to all of us. We all go to this place of saying that feeling, imagining, whatever it is, that we're just not enough. And that is just not so, it's not the case. But it's not enough for me to say that's not true. We need to know why, and we need to dig into it. And that's precisely what we're going to do and get into how to kind of quickly get to the place that we want to get so we can get the things that we want to get in our lives and live them wholeheartedly, vibrantly. SavingDinner.com/Bloom if you're not already signed up. Hi, Carol, Kathy. So much fun. And we are another batch of swag bags going out today. And, you know, I will say, heads up, we have a limit of how many swag bags we can do, and we're getting there. So if you want your swag bag, and come on, who doesn't? SavingDinner.com/Bloom. Get signed up today, okay? Get signed up today. There's plenty of time to get it, and there's plenty of time to get your swag bag in the mail. Plus, we have a pop-up boutique if you want even more. I bought the hoodie and the flip-flops. Come on, the flip-flops are ridiculous. You got to see it. SavingDinner.com/pop if you are so inclined. We also have we have several things that we talk about building our environments. Hi, Terry. Good to see you. And Michelle, it's nice to see you too. She's got her fully bloomed rose right there for all to see. Isn't that so fun? Anyway, so what we do here is we have certain things that we think this will help. One is a mindful mug. Look at this mindful mug. Isn't this cute? This is number 1 from a limited edition. See where it says, I am amazing? It's also a number 1. We're going to hide the numbers on all of these things. Anyway, this is the first edition. If you want to get it, limited amounts left, savingdinner.com/mug, and find out what a mindful mug is, how to use it to your advantage, and how to get it for free. It's all right there at savingdinner.com/mug. Take the time to read the post too, because it explains the whole philosophy behind it, and it really is powerful. Also, our quote deck is in the house. This is our 2nd edition quote deck. I want you to have this, by the way. I want you to have this because it's just the coolest thing. In it, you're going to find all kinds of things that are going to light you up. Light you up. Cosmic 2x4s. That's what we call them around here. Like this one. Each day is a new day to say yes to things that matter and no to what doesn't. Focus is practice. Well, thanks, James Clear. You've just taken away my thunder for today. Marguerite says she loves her mug. Of course she does. Of course she does. I love mine too. I mean, it lights me up. It gives me everything that I need. Let me see. Here's another one. Freedom begins between the ears. Hello. Right? Am I right on that one? Or MJ, whatever his name is, or is he right? How about old keys won't open new doors? Boom. One of the favorite quotes that I have is little hinges swing big doors, because they do. You know, and you think about it, the size of a door, no matter how monstrously huge a door is, they're always held with these little hinges. I mean, you know, in comparison to the door, they're little hinges that hold that door. What does that tell you? That tells us that these little things that we do have the ability to open the door to all the yummy things that we want in our lives. Right, Linda? Linda's in the house too. Linda's had some great success on the sprint as well. So when I tell you all these things, you know, this is a development that we brought to the forefront because they work. These things work. So those quote decks you can find at savingdinner.com/quote. Put the quote on your desk and let it do its magic. You get a little stand that comes with it. And, you know, whether or not you're registering that it's there, it's still working. You know, that's how our brains operate. That's called the reticular activating system. And how about that? We want it. Margot is doing it right now. Okay, read what she said. Having my bone broth in my mindful mug right now. What do you think she's doing that for? To be mindful when her meal comes up, so she's not going to suck it down like a Hoover vacuum cleaner. Anyone here Hoover? Anyone besides me? Yeah, I have to be mindful, or it's game out of there. I'm just like, it's gone. I have to slow it down, put my fork down. Ooh, Jocelyn got her surprise, her full bloom box today. Yay! Isn't it so pretty? The color, the everything. Our glycozyme is the supplement of the week. And if you need blood sugar control and digestion, this is the supplement for you. As a matter of fact, I just changed over to using glycozyme because as we get older, we just need to control all the things. And this is one of the ways to do it. Makes a big difference when you're digesting your food because that means you're getting your nutrition. And when you do this, get this supplement of the week. And remember, it's only for this week. You also are going to get 60 paleo menus for the freezer. Yeah, so you have a plan B always ready to go. Hey, Gwen, good to see you. And guess what that means? And Gwen, I just did your little name tag today for Full Bloom. I saw it. So exciting. Mary Ann's in the house as well. It's so good to see you. You know what that means? It means that you are going to get your digestion on point. You're going to get the nutrition out of your food that you need to. No wonder we're always hungry, right? You're always hungry because you haven't had any nutrition if you can't digest properly. And it happens, you know, it happens to women over the age of 35 all the time. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Digestions really seriously changed my life. Seriously. So that's what we got going on. And don't forget the hydration webinar. It starts on Monday. It starts this Monday. We're going to do the hydration webinar. And then on the 19th, we're going to go ahead and do the challenge. This is so that we can be mindful about that hydration because it means everything. It changes everything. You guys know this. You guys know this. Hey, Noreen. MJ says, I do Hoover since I've taught for 30 years. See, there you go. I know a lot of teachers who have said the very same thing. I eat fast because I had to. Nurses, same thing. Eat fast because I had to. Little kids, puppies, eat fast because you have to. So today we're going to be talking about focus. We're going to circle the wagons right back around and still talk about focus. Yesterday we talked about focus, and we started on Monday talking about focus, and we made that whole thing. We had started with an analogy or an acronym that's follow one course until success. Now, I didn't make this up, but pretty good stuff, right? Follow one course until success. And I like this so much. You know why I like this? Because it gives us an exact instruction of what to do. One course. It's the power of one. We talked about that yesterday. And how critical, how important is that? It's everything, because then we can start to get things done. But one of the things that we have, we end up in this whole idea of, well, it's just really hard for me to get my focus. Well, I'm on ADD and I really struggle with focus, and on and on and on it goes. And I'm going to say right now to you, anyone who says that is setting themselves up with an excuse and a rationale not to have to focus. And I'm not saying that ADD does not exist. I am ADD myself. Yes, ma'am. I have been diagnosed as ADD. Hey, Mary, good to see you. Doris, I'm glad you're here. Yes, I understand what ADD is, but it doesn't mean that that's your destination. That doesn't mean like, well, I get to bow out of this, and that means that I don't have to look at it. It just means you're going to have a little bit of a harder struggle, if you will, or it's going to take a little bit longer, or it's going to be a little bit more effort. Because I'm going to tell you this right now, and pinkies up. If I were to say to you, you have to focus on X, Y, and Z, and you said, no way, I can't because blah, 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 blah. And I said, okay, change it. You have to focus on X, Y, and Z, and I will give you $1 million at the end of the year if you do it. Pinkies up if you could do it. Pinkies up. I know you could. I know you could, because we just don't concentrate enough on the reward. We don't focus enough, if you will, on the reward, what we're going to get out of it. When where our focus goes, our energy goes, you know that. It's also what we focus on expands, right? You know that. And the thing is that if we make a decision for ourselves, by the way, it's always for ourselves. It's for ourselves. And we really put everything that we have into it. And I'm talking about getting energized about it. I'm talking about emoting over it. Because we emote over other stuff, don't we? Have you noticed how we do that? Look at all those pinkies going up. Girls, I know, right? $1 million. Look at them all going up. But we do that. We do it all the time. Because focus, my friends, is a decision. Just like all of the other choices that we have in our lives. It is a decision. Even when it's hard, it's still a decision. And focus can be ascertained out of anything if we make a decision that it can. Because that's how things work. And when we're working with our minds and understand how they work, when our thoughts suddenly become captive and we are the ones in charge of our thoughts, and we are the ones in charge of what it is that we're going to do next, things start to fall into place. So, and I'm going to say, even if we're faced with ADD, ADHD, and I was diagnosed with this with a doctor, I said, I'm having a hard time and just can't focus, and I'm all over the place, and I'm here and there. And he goes, oh yeah, classic ADD. And, asked me a few questions and asked me, do I want a, prescription? No. Now, you know what that tells me? Learn new skills. Learn new skills. We need to learn new skills to accommodate the things that we all had, the obstacles, the disabilities, the whatever, to do it. I had a woman one time who, she was saying, oh, I can't get fit. I'm in a wheelchair. I can't do anything. I can't get to a pool where they have all this stuff. And I said, okay, YouTube for wheelchair exercises, can you do upper body? What can you do? All of this. And you know what? It completely changed her life. Using YouTube as a gym, using a new mindset, a new framework. Just because her legs weren't working doesn't mean her arms weren't. When we look at that, that becomes our focus. And when we start to focus on that, that becomes the output of what we do. You know, one of the things that we have in on the Peloton bike, they have the resistance, and then they have the resistance, they have the cadence on there, and then you get your output to see what your output is. Well, your output is met with both of those things, because you have to have a cadence. In other words, you have to have the action, you have to have the keep goingness. You also have to have some resistance, because resistance is what we push against. And resistance is also, as we push against it, it helps to create momentum. You know, that's how a bike works. Well, that's how we work too. That's how we work. So when we understand that, where our focus goes, that's where our attention goes. So what do I have to say about that? Pay attention, right? Pay attention to what you're paying attention to. Hi, Amy. Don't you think that's important? Of course you do. You think that's important. Listen, $1 million is on the line. Pay attention to what you're paying attention to. If this were a true thing, and I was like, $1 million, and this was going to happen, I am telling you, you would turn your house upside down to make sure your environment was 100% completely supporting the thing that you were shooting for. I promise you, you would. I promise you that you would change up your friends, you would change up your food, you would change everything up if all of this was relying on the fact that you were going to get paid out $1 million for following through on something just by focusing. You would. You would. We would completely change everything when there's suddenly this huge tangible reward attached to what could be. And can you imagine also how that's going to work? Can you imagine how you'd feel about that? You'd be so excited about it. You'd be over the moon about it. You'd be blocking everything else out, and you'd be just absolutely focused. There's $1 million at stake. Well, I'm going to say to you right now, your life is at stake. Your vibrancy is at stake. I can't put a dollar sign on that. I can't. Can you? Your purpose, your reason for being here, that's at stake. All of it's at stake. Patsy's yelling, show me the money. I know, right? But that's the truth. That's the truth of who we are. So we have to follow one course until success. That's where the payoff is, the real payoff. So let's remember that. And then I look at this like we're planting a garden. You know, we could use a garden for so many metaphors, right? But this is the truth. You're planting a focus garden because it's all based upon what you love. So in other words, if you are planting in your garden, if you decide, I want the most beautiful flower garden in the whole entire universe, I want these colors, this, that, and the other thing, and you absolutely hated daisies, would you plant daisies in your garden? Would you? You would not. But this is so much the focus of what we do. We plant stuff in our garden all the time because we focus on the wrong things. We need to focus on the things we want to germinate and bloom in our lives. Fully bloom. Like how I snuck that one in? Of course you do. So what do you want to plant? Do you want a victory garden or do you want a victimhood garden? What kind of garden do you want? I don't know about you, but I'm done with victimhood. That's just a time sucker. It just takes away from the vibrancy in my life. It just doesn't do a darn thing for me. Does it do anything for you? Anyone? Anyone say, or you're going to raise your hand and say, you know what? Being a victim's been a lot of fun in my life. And I'm so glad that's where my focus has been because it's given me so much reward. It's created vibrancy. Not said no woman ever. No. You can do that if you want. You know, it's the haves and the have-nots. You've heard that one before. I want you to be a have. You can have anything that you want as long as you're willing to do it, as long as you're willing to get into the focus of doing it. You can have anything you want. But don't say something like, well, I can't be a male, NBA player. Well, duh. Either can I. Nobody can. But you could be an excellent basketball player if you were to put all of your time and energy into it. You could probably play in a league. You could probably be a star if you wanted to put your focus on that, depending on where you are in your life. You know, we all have our limitations. We all live in these bodysuits at this time and for whatever. We all have that. But that doesn't mean that you cannot have excellence in your life no matter what it is that you choose. It all depends on your focus, because where your focus goes, your energy goes. And where your energy goes, that's where you're going to be spending your time. That's where you're going to be spending your thought life and your energy and all the things. All the things. Amber says, I was reading that when we allow our brains to go squirrel every 5 minutes and get distracted, we're strengthening those neural connections. Absolutely. Absolutely. When we stay connected to what it is that we're doing and finish the course of what we're doing, what happens? It gets easier. I remember in 2019, when I started doing this show on a daily basis, it was hard. It was hard for me. And I was like, what am I going to talk about? Who wants to listen to me? What's going to happen here? You know, it got easier and easier and easier. I listened. I got feedback. Everything, all of the things that I let in helped me to focus so that my output was a whole lot easier. I connected in my brain what was what. Things became easier. Same with my working out, you know. I can lift heavier weights. I can do different things. And you know what? My body looks different and better. But you know what's even better? It's picking up a 15-pound dog. He weighs 15 pounds now because he's done walking, and taking him the last quarter of a mile and then taking him up the 70, 80 steps that we have to our house all the way uphill and not be out of breath. That comes from a focus on fitness, and it gives me these little victories along the way. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. We want to make the right neural connections in our head, and it makes all the difference on what it is that we're doing. We don't want to be like squirrels. And remember, squirrels, you remember we talked about squirrels and their nuts? I'm talking about the nuts that they bury. But squirrels bury nuts, and 40% of them they can't find, or more than that, you know, or they can only find 40%. I can't remember what it was, but it was ridiculous. They bury nuts all through the summer. They bury their little acorns everywhere, and they don't even find half of them. More than half. But that's us. We can be like that, or we can be very intentional about it. Putting a seed down, planting a seed, germinating it. We can do that, helping it germinate. So those are goals. You know, when we have a focus garden, our goals are right in there with the focus. They're right in there. They're part of that garden. And seeds, just like everything else, need the time, the patience to germinate so that they can be fully bloomed. And there's stuff that happens in the invisible, you know? This is the invisible work. We see preparation. Do we see that? No, we don't. I haven't seen your prep unless you're going to give me a picture and show me the prep work that you're doing for your sprint. You know, I don't know what you're doing. I don't see you at the grocery store. I don't see you chopping up your onions and, you know, making your bags and making your bone broth unless you put the picture out there. But that's part of what you're doing to create the plan that's laid out for you so that you can have success. And here we are, day 4 in the sprint. How much success are you having? How focused are you on germinating this little seed so that you can have victory as opposed to victimhood? It's up to you. But this is how we win $1 million. It really is. So what do we need to do? What do we need to do to plant a focus garden? Let's start with that. I've got 5 things. Number 1, prepare the soil and get it ready. You know that. Prepare the soil and get it ready. So if we're going to get that soil ready, then we're going to make sure that it has the right amount of nutrients in it, right? We're going to make sure that it's all tilled up. We're going to make sure that all the weeds and everything are pointed out, and we've got just beautiful soil that we can plant the seed and know that it's going to get taken care of because it's got a good foundation. This is why I always say to you, read the plan. You know, you might have 18 pages, but if you read it, you're going to understand it. You will have tilled that soil, right? That's what it is. Number 2 is place the seed in the garden and water it. Focus on the beauty that you will see. You will see. In other words, when we plant gardens, we don't get instantaneous results. We never do. We planted gardens. We didn't microwave a burrito. You know, it's not instant. It is a garden. It takes and requires time and nurture in order to even start to germinate. And once it starts to germinate, what happens? As it starts to germinate, that little, you can't even tell what it is, but you see a little green something, and it's exciting. And every day that little green something comes. Then pretty soon there's a bloom. There's a bloom. We still water, we go through, we weed. We are very careful. We guard this beautiful flower. Guard it. It's not flowered yet. It hasn't even budded yet. But we guard it. We take out the weeds because we don't want our dreams choked out. That's number 4. We weed. We don't want our dreams choked out by all the negative thoughts and all of everything. We don't. We want our dreams nurtured. We do that by taking the weeds out. Number 5, we focus on creating more of the same. Yeah. To make a beautiful garden, then that's going to require daily attention. Daily attention. Have you noticed anybody here who's done this? I know you have. Anybody here who's grown a garden, have you seen it? Have you noticed what happens? That as you plant that beautiful garden and it germinates and then the green comes up and it just keeps going and now you've got a bud and you just watch it and you're careful and you're making sure everything around it is just careful and taken care of, that it blooms. And as it blooms, it gets, it's pretty as it in a bud, but it's more and more beautiful as it fully blooms. Fully bloomed. A fully bloomed you. This is what happens when your focus is correctly put on yourself, on your life, on your goals, on the vibrancy that you want, instead of all the other garbage. Because we all have the garbage. We all have the garbage. One of my favorite things, in my workout thing is like, put your shoulders down, drop your baggage. I love that. Or your shoulders aren't earrings, drop your shoulders. The reason that they're saying that, get yourself in alignment. And I say to you, get yourself in alignment. Drop the baggage. Drop the negativity. Drop the thinking that no longer serves. Yeah, it's going to take a minute for you to do it. Yes, it is work, but every single day it gets better. Do you want to be like these squirrels that just bury a bunch of seeds all over the place, nuts, and can't even find them? Or do you want to be like that rose that's blooming in your garden? Not just a little bud, but a fully bloomed, glorious rose. I think that's what you want to be. So what's it going to require? Getting your hands dirty. If you're a gardener, you get your hands dirty. Yeah, so what if you wear gloves or whatever? But the point is this: if you do this work, you get this reward. And it starts with focus, because your focus is what contains the energy so that you can get to this place of creating a victory garden. A victory garden. Because we've all had enough of victimhood gardens. It's time for us to raise the sail and to start to be the rising tide. That's the thing that lifts all the boats. Focus. It's a great thing. That's what I got for you today. I love focus. I think it's such a great word. And I know Joanne and who else said that they had that as their, Jocelyn, I think, said that was her word of the year. I can't remember. I know. My focus went. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Tomorrow's Q&A, by the way. So if you have a question, this is it, man. Get that question in today. We won't be taking them. We'll put them into next week's queue. But we want your questions in. Send them into support@savingbidder.com. Question for Leanne on Friday, right there in the subject line. And it will get you, it will get you started. It will get you answered on Friday. That's tomorrow. I appreciate all of you. My son is coming into town, and I might convince him to come on camera with me. Maybe not, but I can't wait to share him with you. He's a riot, that guy. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thanks for your orders. Get into full bloomed, because I'm telling you, this is going to be the conference that's going to change everything if you make a focused decision that it's going to. I believe in you. Peace be with you. See you later. Bye.
Thanks for watching. You can find us on YouTube on the Saving Dinner channel or on the Saving Dinner Facebook page. Check back daily for new episodes, Monday to Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you missed the live show, you can watch the replay. Until next time, pinkies up.